round one of questions, and we'll begin with Ms. Lewis.
Hinds County population has decreased over the years, which means there will be a decrease in revenue. With rising costs and current inflation rate, as a supervisor, how do you plan to address the decrease in revenue without increasing taxes for citizens?
And we will begin with Mr. Thompson and work our way back down to this end of the stage. Mr. Thompson, you have 2 minutes.
The first thing I think I would do is to deal with the plight, deal with the infrastructure that we have in the city of Jackson and Hinds County. I would like to work on the economic development side and encourage more businesses to come here. But I think the first thing we need to do is clean up some of these dilapidated properties, some of these burnout properties. We need to make it welcoming for a business to come in. I would use my marketing skills to actually market the land that's available in Hinds County and let people know that this land is available and they have the opportunity to come and look at it. So I want to attract more people to Hinds County to let them look at the property that we have. When it comes to economic development, I want to help the businesses that we have in Hinds County stay in Hinds County. How can I do that? I can visit them. I can give them details about their business and how to improve it. I can direct or make them aware of funds that are available to them so that any funds that the city or the federal government has, they can get those funds to help improve their businesses. So that's what I would do. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Gavin, 2 minutes.
Okay, before we get started, would you repeat the question so I make sure I'm on target?
Sure. Hinds County population has decreased over the years, which means there's been a decrease in revenue. With rising costs and current inflation rate, as a supervisor, how do you plan to address the decrease in revenue without increasing taxes for citizens?
Okay, thank you. First and foremost, I'm one, as I indicated earlier, that my background and as a certified business analyst, the first thing you do is you create a plan of action. And we are in the situation that she just described, we're losing our tax base. But in order to reverse that, an old adage that says if a ship is sinking, before you can get it to resail, you first got to stop it from sinking. We've started a comprehensive plan. And with that comprehensive plan, we met with the various stakeholders in Hinds County. This is not something proposed. This is something that has been done, is in the work at this time. With that comprehensive plan, we've done what is called a SWOT analysis. That's assessing the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats to Hinds County. And with that analysis, we are now in the process of moving forward to the next phase. Moving to that next phase entails creating 2 nonprofit entities that would allow us to address those shortages that is referenced in reference to our loss. It would give us the opportunity to do with the federal money and state money that is allocated, but also with nonprofit monies that are out there. It would also give those stakeholders, and I'm talking about the Continental Tires, the various health industries, the various real estate developers, those types of industries, and I go up to 18 in this study. We're talking about getting those entities involved in the day-to-day. We've already met with them. We've already determined from their assessed input what is required and what is needed in order for us to retain them. So we're going to start working in that. And I'm asking for consideration and your vote on August 8th so that we can fulfill that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Ms. Evers, you have 2 minutes.
Yes. First of all, before we talk about bringing businesses into a city or a county that is in blight, we have to look at our finances. We have to do a forensic audit. We do not right now have the money to be sitting up here talking about what we're going to build, what we're going to do. We have to get our books in order. Our streets have to be taken care of. Our roads have to be taken care of. Our bridges have to be taken care of. You cannot build something on a on a street that is caving in. The people can't even drive down the street to get to the place that you all are talking about building. So before we start talking about building anything, we have to clean up Hinds County. We have to make sure our rural areas are taken care of because they have not been taken care of. I have been out here in the field and the people are complaining. So everybody that says they have a plan, I haven't seen a plan. And I would like to see the plan. I would love to sit down with Supervisor Gavin, and he has to show me his plan because you've been there 3.5 years. And we understand Rome wasn't built in a day, but we can get something done.
All right, thank you, Ms. Evers. Mr. Locke, 2 minutes.
So great answers from the other panelists, but I think they missed the mark because the money is there. Hinds County is the largest county in the state of Mississippi. We have the most amount of money coming in, the largest revenue base. The issue is, like Ms. Evers said, where is the money going? To my understanding, there has not been a formal audit done by the county. For that reason, the county cannot get grant money. This has been stated numerous times by Congressman Benny Thompson. He has plenty of money to send down federally, but none of the Board of Supervisors have the spine to conduct a forensic audit, like Ms. Edwards said. But to answer your question, ma'am, what we have to do is reverse those issues or those trends that cause that. People are leaving Hinds County because they don't feel safe. People are leaving Hinds County because you can go to Madison County, you can go to Rankin County, get a good meal, you can get some entertainment, and you can, and the scene, there's beautiful scenery. So what we have to do is, like Ms. Evers said, number one, we have to get a control of the money. The first thing that should be done, this is what I did when I got into Clinton, when I got elected in Clinton, we did a audit or a breakdown of the budget to find out where everything was going. That has to be done. And then from there, you can make your plan. You can have a short-term comprehensive plan and a long-term comprehensive plan. Right now, the city of Clinton, the city of Jackson, the city of Byram, all these other municipalities are not working together. Hinds County is doing their own thing. Byram is doing their own thing. Clinton is doing their own thing. We need leaders who can work across the aisle, sit at the table with everyone, and get a good plan to get rid of this blight and clean up the streets and make citizens feel safe, make businesses want to come to Hinds County and make it their home.
All right, thank you, Mr. Locke. Mr. Gavin will ask if you have a rebuttal to that. If so, you have 1 minute.
First of all, I like to state that you don't know what you don't know. And the first thing here is there have been audits done. Audits have been done annually. Now, I came into office in 2020. The audits are behind, but they are behind because the previous board did not carry forth their mission. But each year since we have been in office, there have been audits done annually, even though, again, we are behind. But what I would also like to state is
30
this.
seconds.
What I'd also like to state is this. Repairing things to make you feel good is not always a valid thing. There's infrastructure problems that are 50 years and older. So you got to start from the base and work up. And making it look pretty on the top when you got a structure that's destroyed under the bottom is a waste of resources. And this is what we have to be very, very mindful of. And for those who are not informed, they may think that their answer is correct. Thank you.
All right, I'll ask if either candidate have a rebuttal to that. Ms. Evers, you're looking.
Yes. First of all, I understand what you're saying, Supervisor Gavin. But when you all supposed to fix a street, I've worked with the best contractors. My daddy had a contracting company. You all lay 1 inch of tar and 1 inch of gravel. So before the 3 years is up, you all come back and fix it. You have 4 years in office, and you all wait 6 months prior to start doing your job. Your job is supposed to be done every day. You were elected to take care of the people. You all have left out the rural counties of
20 seconds.
You all have left out the rural counties. And I get the calls. I'm a radio station owner, and I'm doing you all's job, and that's why I'm running for this position.
All right, so Mr. Gavin, I'll follow up with the question for you, and you can include your rebuttal in your response.
Okay.
You stated that you've been in office since 2020. How far behind are the audits?
The audit right now is at 2021.
Okay, and you can include your rebuttal now.
If you don't know, you don't know. The asphalt, according to the technical advice that I've received, the life expectancy on asphalt is 7 to 15 years based upon the traffic flow. So 7 to 15 years based on traffic flow determines whether that particular road is in need. Now, obviously, that's a certain amount of thickness that is laid down and so forth. But the typical road requires that. So if you got 7 years, then you are saying that the roads that are in deplorable conditions today did not occur under my
All right, and that's your
watch,
time on
but
that
it starts
one, sir.
under others.
That is
Thank
your
you.
time, sir. Thank you very much. We'll go to our next round of questions, and they will come from Mr. Griffin.
Good evening. Thank you guys for attending tonight. There's been a lot of talk, even with the prior candidates, about corruption in the state of Mississippi. And one of the things that sickens me as a taxpaying citizen is that we've seen elected, or rather appointed officials, people who are hired in particular capacities, running off with money. And even when we don't hear reports, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that 2 plus 2 is coming out to be 3 instead of 4. Okay, even when we don't get the reports, we know what's going on. We balance our budgets every day at home, so when the money don't add up, it just don't add up. So that problem with corruption is exacerbated by incompetence and a lack of capacity to manage resources. That's on the county level and the city level. In your capacity, if you guys win and if you're reelected, resource management. What's your experience in resource management? Money, personnel, equipment, etc. How is that going to translate to when you win or if you're reelected? And how, two-part question, accountability. What does that look like? Because it's one thing to have the experience, but if it's not being done properly, what's your accountability model for managing the resource?
All right, Greg, I'm going to ask you to repeat the question again. Just kind of make it a little succinct there.
Okay. Resource management. Again, we have problems with corruption and people stealing money. That's exacerbated when the resources are mismanaged. When we have personnel that's mismanaged. When we have money that's mismanaged. When we don't know where it's going. When we have equipment that's sitting up, that's not being used, or that we're paying for that's inoperable. What is your experience with managing resources? And how will that translate to your job if you're elected?
Very good. Mr. Gavin, we'll begin with you. 2 minutes.
First thing is you have to have internal control. Managing resources entails internal control. There's a process that has to be in place, and understanding that process is one thing. As far as money being misused and so forth, obviously some bad decisions can and have been made. So that's no denying. But when it comes to people stealing the money, there's a lot of corruption, but no supervisor signs any check. No supervisor, we authorize the payments, but no supervisor charges anything as it relates. Internal control. The Chancery Clerk's Office is sponsored for the responsible party for making certain that the documentation is in place. So that's from that perspective. Each department, they have to go through the purchasing channels, which has purchasing policies and procedures in place. So as a result of that, when it comes to the board of supervisors, we simply approve the payment. So that's this myth that is being spoken, and I'm not saying that that perhaps does or does not exist. But the normal process with it is the internal control that is in place. An audit is to determine that those internal controls are in place.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gavin. Ms. Evans, you have 2 minutes.
Well, yes, I run a radio station and I have over 20 employees. Everybody has a job to do. Everybody comes to me when we have a problem. Now, yes, everybody has a department in each position that they do, but there has been allegations of money being misappropriated. It's not hard to have somebody sign a check and it comes back to somebody else. I'm not saying either. But what I'm saying is, when you listen and you hear that $2.5 million has been resent back, $6 million was sent over to the city, and it was sent back, and nobody has said anything about that. When we are sitting here with ditches, no sidewalks, no decent quality of life for our seniors, for our children to be able to go to a park, that's my problem. And as me being supervisor, I am going to make sure the money be allocated where it's supposed to go. It will not go to a different organization. It goes to the taxpayers, because guess what? You all made us. We didn't make you all.
All right, Ms. Ellis, thank you. Mr. Locke?
Mr. Greg,
Yes.
so Mr. Greg, you asked what kind of experience we've had in managing money. Currently, as
Resources,
the
not
resources,
just
I'm
money.
sorry. Well, okay, resources, money, and assets. Currently, as Alderman in Clinton, we have a $20 million budget that I'm in my third year of the budgeting process, where our responsibility is, like I said, to thumb through every inch of that budget to figure out where that money is going. Are we spending it wisely, and what ways we can better spend that money? I also mentioned that I'm a 16-year member of the Mississippi Air National Guard. I currently serve as an officer, where I'm responsible for approximately $10 million in budgetary items and assets for the Mississippi Air National Guard. So in my professional career as an alderman for the city of Clinton, and my professional career as a military officer, I'm responsible for close to $30 million. So that's my experience. What would I do to make sure that there's no infidelity or negative things going on with the money? So like Supervisor Gavin said, there are internal controls, but what we have to do is make sure, first, what we haven't been doing for Hinds County is hiring good people to do good work for great positions. We have to hire good people to be the county administrator. We have to hire good people to be department heads to make sure that money that we send down as a supervisor is being spent properly. Because as a supervisor, you cut the check, but the department head is the one who's responsible for that budget for that department, whether it be a judge's office, whether it be public works, whether it be communications. The supervisor are responsible for applying the money to them, but you also have to put trust in good quality department heads to make sure they spend the money the right way.
All right, thank you, Mr. Locke. Mr. Thompson, same question, 2 minutes.
When I become supervisor, my goal is to make sure that I keep everything cataloged. Again, I'm mentioning my technology skill. I want to keep up with the contracts. I want to see when they come in. I want to see who's getting them. I'll be able to know who's getting the majority of them. I want to make sure they're not intertwined with a particular supervisor. One of the other things I would like to do is become the police of the board. I've heard there's a lot of corruption amongst the members, so my goal is to make sure that if I hear something or know something, I'm going to be the one to tell it, because I don't have nothing hanging over my head. I asked one of my supervisors, I said, he told me all this corruption. I said, well, why don't you all police yourselves? Why, if you know something, why don't you say something? Well, maybe he can't say nothing because he may be a part of that. So my goal is to make sure that I'm not taking any of the other under the table deals. My goal is to make sure I'm on the up and up. I believe that when I get in that seat, that God puts me in that seat, and I know just as quick as he can put me in that seat, he can get me out of that seat. So I'm operating off integrity. I'm going to be there to listen to my people. You got to care about people and love them, not just some of them, but everybody, regardless of whether they're Raymond, Hines, Byram, or wherever they are. You have to love people. You have to be willing to listen to them. I'm not a politician. I don't have all the answers. We have a lot of smart people that's out there.
30 seconds.
So my goal is to work with the people. My goal is to work with integrity. And my goal is to make sure that the funds go where they need to go.
All right, thank you very much. I don't know if y'all heard him. He wants to be the popo for the board. All right, thank you. Mr. Thompson, the last question this round comes from Ms. Abdul Haq.
You've talked a lot about your professional careers and experience. What innovative approaches would you apply to heal and help and elevate District 4 if elected, or if reelected?
Ms. Evers, we'll begin with you. You have 2 minutes.
Well, for the past 20 plus years, I've been healing and lifting District 4, District 3, District 2, District 1, District 5 up. Every time we have a family that's not able to buy groceries, we take care of that. Every time a family do not have gas to put in their car, we take care of that. So I've been doing this. We had a 14-year-old that laid in West Haven for over a month. I reached out to politicians, so they say they are, or city leaders, to help bury this child because the family was not able to bury this child. In 4 hours, my station raised $6,500. But we say we love our people. But I'm out here every day on the ground making sure that the citizens of Hinds County and Jackson have.
Thank you, Ms. Evers. Mr. Lott, same question, 2 minutes.
So my intention, I do agree with Ms. Evers partially, but I do think that portion is for the churches and for the religious organizations and nonprofit organizations. As a legislator, as a Hinds County supervisor, their job specifically is budgetary and making sure they handle the budget and the business of Hinds County. So in order to do that, we have to do 4 things: provide 4 basic necessities for the citizens of Hinds County. Public safety. We have to make sure we fully fund a budget to the sheriff's office so they can get training, they can have all the resources that they can use to work collaboratively with all the municipalities so we can have a safe Hinds County. Number 2, once we get that budget under control, we have to fully fund public works to make sure we have the equipment and people to go keep Hinds County clean. Clean up the roads, maintain the bridges, maintain the roads, and clean up the right-of-ways. And also, number 3, we have to develop economic development plans with other municipalities in Hinds County to ensure that we have a tax base, a strong tax base, and we keep revenue coming in from businesses and from houses. So once you are able to provide those basic necessities for everyone in Hinds County, because it hasn't been done, that's why we're here now. It hasn't been done to this point. You have to provide those basic necessities to have viable communities. How do we know?
30 seconds.
It's being done around Mississippi. Madison does it. Rankin County does it. Hinds County makes way more money than them. Why can't Hinds County look like Madison County? Why can't the citizens of Hinds County feel the securities that they do in Madison, Rankin, DeSoto, other vibrant communities? It's because we aren't taking care of business like we should do. And if you let James Block III for Hinds County Supervisor District 4 first day in, I'll make sure we do that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lott. Mr. Thompson, same question, 2 minutes.
Can you repeat the question for me again?
You express details regarding your professional careers and your experience. What would be some innovative approaches that you would use to heal and help District 4?
Well, the first thing I would do is listen to the people. I've been serving as the HOA president for 7 years. When people have problems, they want to know that you care. So I will listen to them. I will do what I can to take care of the issue. I will do my best to fix the issue. And if I cannot fix the issue in a timely manner, I will communicate with them to let them know why it can't be done. I don't want any citizens to not know what's going on in Hinds County, especially in District 4. I want to be able to use my database skill to keep up with what bridges we're working on, what bridges that are completed and was it completed. My goal is to make sure that when we do contracts, that we have a clause in there to let the contractors know the deadline. I do understand that some things may happen where they can't complete the deadline, but my goal is to make sure that I be accountable to the people, to let them know what's going on. My HOA always want me to make sure I know what's going on. I want to be there for the people, listen to their concerns, and do what I can do to fix those concerns and put the fires out. You know, I got some HOA members that you have to put the fire out real fast. So my goal is to go there to represent them and use my technology skills to do whatever I can to bring success and bring love back to the counties. Good like that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Thompson. Mr. Gavin, same question, 2 minutes.
If you would, just restate it for me as well.
You've expressed and shared your experience in your professional careers. So not experience, but innovative approaches to healing and helping and elevating District 4.
Thank you. First of all, I just want to make this statement first. You can hear sound bites and so forth, but we're in the process right now of competing for this position. And I bought radio airtime with 4 or 5 stations. And of those 4 or 5 stations, I got a schedule of my ads and when they're going to run. This particular station that is run by this particular person who's been very critical of scheduling, I have talked to everybody in the upline, including her, about getting a schedule of when
So,
my
Mr. Gavin, I'm
ads
going
are
to
going
ask
to
that you
run.
move to the question.
And that ad
So
has not
I'm
run
going to
the
ask you to
10
move to the
times that it
question,
has
or I'm going to
supposed
cut
to.
you off.
Now,
All right? So we're
back
going to move to the
question.
next round of
Now,
questions.
back
No,
to the-
sir. You're going to follow the rule. You're going to answer the question. We're not going to allow a personal attack. Not in this one.
Right.
You may do it at another. Your time is over for that question, sir.
Okay.
We'll move to the next round of questions.
Thank
and
you.
these questions will come from the audience.
Thank
and
you.
as a point of executive privilege, we're going to reduce the answer time to 1 minute. You're not going to talk over me, sir, and you're not going to continue that response.
I
Okay?
do
Thank you.
apologize.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to move to the audience questions on this, and we're going to reduce the answer time, the response time, to 1 minute for the sake of time, and so that we can get all of these questions in. And Mr. Gavin, I'm going to start with you, because most of the questions from the audience is an attack on you. But I
Okay.
want to be fair to the other members that are on this stage, and I'm going to qualify the questions so that they can answer them as well. I'm going to start with this question from the audience. Mr. Gavin, can you explain your decision to vote against the pay raise for the public defender's office? You have 1 minute to answer that.
First of all, that was not an against the pay raise for the public defender's office. Let's make that real clear. It was a statement to the effect that we needed to have the public defender to get with the public administrator to determine where the funds are going to come from. We had already made an assessment with ARPA money to fund public defender's office. Now, that money is going to run out, because it was a one-time deal. If we do
20
not
seconds,
have
sir.
that money,
20 seconds.
and we don't have the other money to make up for it, then there's going to be a shortfall, which is going to ultimately end up in furloughs. And so that's the reason why we ask that the public defender get with the county administrator and ask the county administrator to locate the funds. That's my reason. And there was no denial.
Thank you, sir. And we're going to shape this question so that all of the other candidates can answer it as well. How would you vote on this exact same measure should you become the next supervisor for District 4? Mr. Locke, we'll begin with you.
So I have great respect for Mr. Vern Gavin. He has been somewhat of a mentor for me since I've been alderman at Clinton. I've been able to go to him for advice, and because being new in the position, I needed somebody in my corner. So I do have much respect for Brother Gavin, but I would have done this differently. My first year as a supervisor, I would have looked around the state, looked at the comparable salaries of everyone across the state in every department. And again, like I said, get control of that budget, find out where the money is going. Hinds County has the largest budget. It has the money. So what I would have done then, gradually set a plan, because that's what we do in Clinton with our government, gradually set a plan to upgrade or increase salaries over time across the board. So once you have the budget under control, you can do that. I don't really got time. Most of the issues that we have is because bad fiscal management, and I think all that can be fixed with just getting there, cleaning up the budget, and everyone can have a piece of the pie in Hines County.
That's your time. Thank you, Mr. Lott. Ms. Evers, same question.
Well, I'm kind of confused because Mr. Locke says they have the money, and Mr. Gavin says they don't have the money. Is that what happened? So I'm trying to figure out which one was it. But
So the question to you, Ms. Evers, how would you vote on the measure of giving the public defender's office a raise? That's the question on the floor.
okay, the question on the floor is how we would give. We have to give our employees a raise. We have to make sure the money is in the budget to enable our employees to be able to have a good quality of life. We have employees that are out there, public defenders, defend the people that can't afford an attorney. So if we can't give them
20 seconds.
a raise, then what are we going to do when all of them leave the county?
All right. Thank you, Ms. Evers. Mr. Thompson, same question. 1 minute. How would you vote on the measure of giving the public defender's office a raise?
I think we need to support the entire criminal justice system. That's one of our major problems, and that's one of the problems that's keeping our economic development down. First thing that I would do as a supervisor, I would make sure that we meet before each meeting. I've watched meeting after meeting, and it seems like the board is not informed on what's going on. I know that the administrator does a lot. I know he executes the budget, but I'm going to suggest that when we get on the table that we know what we have.
20 seconds.
And I do understand that you have to know what funds you have, but if we will meet before, have budget meetings before, I want to stay knowledgeable. I think we need to stay completely knowledgeable of what we have so we can make the decisions that we need to make and support our criminal justice system.
All right. Thank you. And I see your hand, Mr. Lott, but we just don't have time for a follow-up. I want to get to some more of these questions. Mr. Gavin, I'm going to begin this round with you as well because, again, these questions are, I don't usually allow them, but I want to give it to you, and I want to frame it so these other candidates can answer it as well. This question from the audience member is, why is it that constituents can't access their supervisors until election time?
You know, that's a question that I really can't answer because that has never been a problem with my office. I have 3 special project officers, and they respond to all calls and requests. And so if there's a shortage or a need that they are not able to reach them, that's not knowledgeable to me. Now, there's some other things that could be in place. But what I would like to indicate here is that if you call our office, you can get a response. And we have done that, and matter of fact, we get compliments on a daily basis for that. Now, if somebody is trying to reach a specific person, that may be a different matter.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Thompson. Same question. If you are elected supervisor of District 4, what will be your accessibility?
I'm going to answer my phone, period. When we tried to organize a Zoom session, almost every number I called, I couldn't get nobody. I answer my phone. I'm not going to block. I'm going to answer my phone whether I feel like you are wanting something negative or not. So my goal, again, is with my community task force database. When you submit that information to that database, it comes directly to my phone. And I'm going to make sure that you know that your response has been received. And I'm going to get back with you, me or my staff, within a certain amount of time to make sure you know that we got your request. And if I have to come out there and talk to you, just say, Mr. Thompson, I need to talk to you, and I would love to come to your house. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lodge. Should you be elected Hines County Supervisor of District 4, what's your accessibility?
So even now, as an alderman in Clinton, I'm a transparent communicator. I am equally accessible to everyone, my constituent, those who aren't my constituent. Being the only minority on the board, it wasn't an expectation of me, but it was an expectation of mine. I became the alderman for most of Black Clinton. Most of the Black individuals in Clinton feel safe and comfortable coming to me instead of reaching out to their alderman. I send out bi-monthly updates to 600 plus constituents in the city of Clinton of how we vote on every item. So I do a detail why I voted this way and how much money we spent and where that money is going. As a supervisor, I will continue to do that. I will continue to be transparent, easily accessible. I'm knocking on doors as an alderman to my citizens, making sure I'm giving them the product that they invested in when they voted for me, and I will do the same as a Hinds County supervisor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Law. Ms. Evers, same question to you. If you're elected Hinds County Supervisor District 4, what does accessibility look like for you?
Well, I'm accessible all the time now. So my phone rings almost 24 hours a day. I'm a hands-on person. I'm a people person. So if anybody calls me and they need me to be there, I'm going to be there. We're not going to make a schedule. If there's something important that needs to be done, my special project officers will be right there. Each special project officer that I will have a cell phone for our district to communicate with them. If they don't answer the phone, and when you call me, they're gonna have to answer to me. Because like I said, I'm for the people. I've always been for the people. 90.1 has been for the people. And I will always be accessible.
That's your time. Thank you, Ms. Evers, very much. All right, last question from the audience. Again, Mr. Gavin, I'm going to start with you because this one is critical and it's kind of a two-part, and I'll shape it so the others can answer it as well. But I absolutely believe in hearing from the people. The final question tonight, what have you done for the people of District 4? Grass has not been cut, streets have not been paved. It's difficult to contact anyone in public works. Once you contact them, promises are made, but nothing is done. If re-elected, what are your goals to improve District 4, and why has it not been done already?
What we've done for District 4, we've improved and repaved more roads than have been done in the past 10 years combined. We have repaired bridges that has not been done and repaired in the past 10 years. As far as grass being cut and other things, yeah, we are behind because of the weather conditions, because of equipment breakdown, and because of the suppliers not having the supplies to repair the parts. Those are things that were outside of my control and outside of Public Works control. We're on the unit system, we're not on the beat system anymore. So where equipment, they're working in South Hinds or West Hinds or East Hinds, then it has to work through the system to get to your area. And right now they are working in the central part, which is District 4.
Thank you, Mr. Gavin. Ms. Evers, the question will be framed for you and the rest of the candidates in this manner. Should you be elected as Hinds County District 4 supervisor, what would be your protocol to ensure services are delivered to the constituents?
Well, first of all, everybody wants the grass cut, because I love my grass cut. But if we have equipment that is down, we shouldn't have to wait for one company to decide to fix our equipment. There are more places in the state of Mississippi that can fix a tractor, a trailer, a bush hog, and a truck. So we shouldn't have to be intimidated by that we can't get our equipment fixed. The streets, the grass, and everything will be cut.
10 seconds.
It will, trust me, as your supervisor, it will be cut. It will be beautified, and it will be pretty.
All right, thank you, Ms. Evers. Mr. Locke, same question to you. Should you become the District 4 supervisor, what would be your protocol to ensure services are delivered to the constituents?
Yes, so I'm a 16-year military veteran. I'm an officer in the Air National Guard. My time as a recruiter, spent 8 years as a recruiter. You were not allowed to take no as an answer. As an elected official, you are not allowed to take no as an answer. If you come up to a situation and there was a roadblock, you either knock that wall down or find a way around it. And we have to hold our department heads accountable. First, we have to hire quality department heads, and then hold those department heads accountable for, as a supervisor, we're part-time. So most of the time, your SPO or those department heads are the one actually carrying out the business of the county. So what you have to do is hold those individuals accountable, get rid of the bad people, and pay pay good people to do good work.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that very much. Mr. Thompson, same question to you. Should you become the next supervisor for District 4, what would be your protocol to ensure services are delivered to the constituents?
What I would like to see as supervisor of District 4, I would like to see each district get their own equipment. At least 2 bush hogs, at least one of those tractors that can cut the trees back, and at least 2 zero-turn. Because with the equipment we have, we can't keep up with the grass problem that we have. I want to be able to have my own team of guys that go to so-and-so's area, whatever, where the fire is, and put the fire, because the way the grass grows, you have to constantly do it. So while the grass is over there on this other side of Hinds County, all this grass over here is getting bigger, so you can't keep up with it. So my goal is to make sure that when people call or be put in my database, I'm going to take care of the problems in the order that they call. I'm not, if I can do it in the order that they put it on the list, I'm going to handle it. But if I can't, I'm going to communicate with you and let you know. Communication
And that's
is
your
key.
time,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you very much. Let's give all of these candidates a big round of applause. We want to thank you so much for sharing with us tonight, and thank you for offering yourselves as public service. Because we're just about out of time, we're going to reduce your closing remarks to 30 seconds because we're just about out of time. We'll begin with Mr. Lott, and we'll work our way down to the other end of the stage. Mr. Lott, closing remarks, 30 seconds.
I'm going to brag on my people. I was raised by my grandfather. That's him sitting over there in the orange shirt. He is a retired Master Sergeant from the United States Air Force. He instilled in me a work ethic you will not believe. I will get out. I will fight for you. I will work for you. It is incumbent on us as smart voters in Hinds County to vote smart people. Y'all hear that? Vote smart people to do the job for you in the county. Not just in District 4, across the county and across the state. We've been doing the same thing over and over, bumping our heads.
Timekeeper, I know that's 30 seconds. All right, thank you very much. All right, Ms. Elkers, closing remarks, 30 seconds.
On August 8th, I want you to vote for somebody that cares, that has experience, that will take care of our people of Hinds County. No, I don't know everything, but when I get in there, I'm going to learn. We're going to do the right thing, and we're going to make sure that you are roads, bridges, and streets, and parks, and anything else that needs to be done will be done. The money will be allocated in the right way, not the wrong way.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gavin. 30 seconds.
Thank you. When I return to office, I will continue with the mission that we've already put in place, that is completing a comprehensive plan so that we will be proactive rather than reactive. We would also work with each one of the departments, setting up schedules for production. Our roads, as it was joked upon, we have identified all of the roads in District 4 and rated them according to their urgent needs. And as a result of that, we're methodically moving forward.
Mr.
That would
Thompson,
be my
your closing
continuation.
remarks.
Thank you.
Mr. Thompson, closing remarks, 30 seconds.
On August the 8th, I asked you to vote for me as your supervisor. We do have some candidates. Mr. Lott is doing a great job in Clinton. We have 3 candidates in Clinton. These 3 right here are all from Clinton. I'm the only candidate from Jackson, and we have 1 in Byron, Mr. Amos, which I heard that he is the only black male on his board, and he's doing a great job. And we have Miss Allison in Raymond. So I'm asking you to vote for me. I will work across the line, no matter what color you are, whether you're Republican or Democrat. I have to represent everyone. So I'm here to work with everybody, work across the line, and make sure we do what we need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Thompson. All right, let's give all these candidates a round of applause. Wanda Evers, James Lott, Vern Gavin, and Iman Thompson. Let's give them a big round of applause for offering themselves as public servants. We certainly do appreciate that. Thank you very much. All right, guys, thank you for being with us tonight. I do appreciate that. Sometimes the conversations do get heated in public forum. So thank you for being with us. Pastor Chrysler, we're turning it over to you.